The unfamiliar car sits in the driveway like an accusation. Black BMW, mud spattered, with one of those stick figure family decals on the back window. I pull in behind it, my knuckles white against the steering wheel. Something's wrong. Mom and Dad don't drive a BMW. I sit in my car for a moment, listening to the tick of the cooling engine. 4 years of mortgage payments flash through my mind. $420,000 house, countless overtime hours, a bank account that never seems to grow, all for my parents to have a stable retirement home. That was the deal. The spare key feels cold in my palm as I approach the front door. Voices drift through the walls, a man's laughter, a woman's higher response. Not my parents. My stomach knots as I slide the key into the lock and push the door open. The living room has changed. Gone is the faded floral couch I helped my mother select 4 years ago. In its place sits a sleek leather sectional I've never seen before. And on it, beer in hand, lounges my younger brother, Logan. Audrey? He looks up, surprise flickering across his face before settling into that familiar, easy smile. Didn't know you were coming by today. I stand frozen in the entryway. What are you doing in Mom and Dad's house? A pregnant woman emerges from the kitchen, her hand resting protectively over her rounded belly. She stops when she sees me, confusion evident in her wide eyes. Logan? She questions. It's just my sister, he says with a dismissive wave. Audrey, this is Melissa, my fiancé. I barely register the introduction. What are you doing in my parents' house? I repeat, my voice sharper. Logan raises an eyebrow, taking a casual sip of his beer. You mean my house? Mom and Dad moved out last month. They're renting a place closer to the lake. The floor seems to tilt beneath me. Your house? My hands tremble as I pull out my phone, stepping into the hallway for privacy. Mom answers on the fourth ring, her voice immediately defensive when she hears mine. Oh, Audrey, yes, we were going to tell you eventually. Tell me what exactly? My voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. That you gave away the house I've been paying for? To Logan? Now, don't be dramatic. Put Dad on the phone. A rustling sound, then my father's gruff voice. Audrey, what's this about? The house, Dad. The house I'm paying $2,400 a month for. Why is Logan living there claiming it's his? A pause, then. Logan needs the house more than you do. He's starting a family. The casual way he says it, like we're discussing borrowing a sweater instead of a home. I've sacrificed everything for makes my vision blur at the edges. I signed the mortgage papers. I've been making payments for 4 years. We had an agreement. Agreements change. Mom's voice cuts in. She must have picked up the other line. You have a great job. You'll make that money back. He doesn't have the same opportunities you do. My mind flashes back to the day I signed those papers. The pride in my parents' eyes as I committed to the $420,000 mortgage. Their promises that this would be their forever home, that my help was the greatest gift a daughter could give. How I believed them. I've paid over $100,000 toward that house, I say, my voice barely audible. And we appreciate it, Dad says, sounding anything but appreciative. But family helps family. Logan needs a place for his baby. I end the call without another word, walk past my brother and his pregnant fiancée, and leave without looking back. My apartment feels small and shabby after the house my house, with its gleaming hardwood floors and spacious rooms. I open my laptop, pull up the spreadsheet I've maintained religiously for 4 years. The numbers mock me. 4 years of mortgage payments, $115,200. Extra principal payments to help pay down the loan faster, $24,800. Property taxes I've covered, $18,400. Repairs and maintenance, $12,600. Over $170,000 gone. Money that could have paid off my $60,000 student debt twice over. Money that could have been a down payment on my own place. Instead, I've been living in this one-bedroom apartment with the dripping bathroom faucet and the neighbor who practices drums at midnight. I scroll through photos on my phone from when I first started this arrangement. There I am with overtime-shadowed eyes, taking on consulting projects on weekends while my friends went to concerts and traveled abroad. Skipping vacations, choosing store-brand groceries, declining dinners out all to make those extra payments. A text lights up my phone screen. The gutters need replacing. Send $2,200 by Friday, Dad. I open my banking app, finger hovering over the transfer button, as I've done countless times before. My gaze drifts around my apartment, the patched IKEA furniture, the outdated microwave that takes 3 minutes to heat a cup of coffee, the single good suit I wear to client meetings and wash by hand to make it last. The realization dawns slowly, then all at once, settling into my bones with cold clarity. They never saw me as a daughter. I was just an ATM. I close the app without making the transfer. Almost immediately, my phone buzzes with another text from Dad. Did you get my message? Need the money by Friday. Then another, Audrey, and another. Your mother is worried about the gutters. Call us. I set my phone face down on the table, and for the first time in 4 years, I ignore it. Steam rises from my latte as I stare at Mia's widening eyes across the table. Her mouth hangs open, coffee forgotten. They did what? Her voice cuts through the ambient chatter of the cafe. I trace the rim of my cup, unable to meet her gaze. Gave the house to Logan, just handed it over. Like my payments meant nothing. Mia slams her palm on the table, rattling our cups. Audrey, you need to call the bank immediately. This isn't just unfair, it's financial abuse. Financial abuse. The words hang between us, giving shape to something I felt but never named. This isn't the first time, I say quietly. The memory surfaces like a bruise being pressed. 3rd grade, my straight-A report card clutched in small fingers, proudly presented to my parents. This is expected, not exceptional, Audrey, Mom had said, barely glancing at it before returning to her magazine. That same year, Logan brought home a report card spotted with D's and a single CGA1. Dad took him for ice cream to celebrate his improvement. I shake my head, returning to the present. At my college graduation, Dad pulled me aside. Now it's time to start paying us back for everything we've done, he said. Not congratulations, not we're proud of you. Mia reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. The house wasn't the beginning, was it? It was just the biggest ask in a pattern. Every bonus, every raise, they somehow knew about it before I'd even deposited the check. The water heater, the roof repair, Logan's car insurance. Call the bank. Mia enunciates each word. Today. The mortgage specialist's office smells of artificial vanilla and printer toner. Miss Winter scrolls through my account, her professional smile fading with each click. Miss Chen, there's something unusual here. She turns the monitor so I can see. These extra payments you've been making, they should have reduced your principal significantly by now. My throat tightens. And they haven't? She shakes her head, frowning. According to our records, additional funds were withdrawn shortly after each extra payment posted. The room tilts slightly. Withdrawn by whom? The joint account holders. Her voice softens. Your parents. She pulls up a detailed statement highlighting transactions in yellow. $750 in January, $1,200 in February, $800 in March. The yellow highlights blur as tears threaten. Over $30,000 of my extra payments diverted to my parents' personal expenses. Money I thought was building equity. Money I sacrificed vacations, new clothes, even proper dental work to provide. My phone buzzes with a text from Mom. The refrigerator broke. We need $3,000 for a new one. I slide the phone face down onto Miss Winter's desk, suddenly unable to breathe properly. Miss Chen, she says gently, these payments were supposed to reduce the principal. Instead, they've been treating your account like a cash withdrawal service. I look up, finding unexpected compassion in her eyes. What options do I have? My voice sounds distant, hollow. Legally, you have no obligation to pay a mortgage on a property you don't own, the financial advisor says, placing her business card on my coffee table. Your name isn't on the deed, only the loan. The arrangement was predatory from the start. I curl deeper into my couch, wrapping my arms around myself. But they're my parents, who have stolen over $30,000 from you, beyond the regular mortgage payments. She leans forward. Miss Chen, if a stranger did this to you, you'd press charges. Sunlight streams through my apartment window, illuminating dust motes that dance in the air. For a moment, I watch them, remembering how trapped I've felt these past 4 years. Working overtime until my eyes burned, declining dinners with friends, watching my savings account hover near zero, while I sent thousands to my parents each month. What would happen if I just stopped paying. The question emerges softly, like a forbidden thought. The bank would eventually foreclose. Your parents would face consequences for their failure to pay. Your credit would take a hit, but you're young enough to recover. For the first time in years, possibility unfurls in my chest. I open my laptop, create a new email. To Mom, Dad. Subject: mortgage payments. As of today, I will no longer be making payments on the house. Audrey. My hand hovers over the trackpad, trembling but resolute. I click send. The weight that lifts from my shoulders is so sudden and complete that I gasp. I close the laptop and block their numbers on my phone in rapid succession before doubt can creep back in. They're counting on your guilt to control you, Jennifer says, spearing a forkful of salad across the break room table. My mother did the same thing for years. She borrowed my first paycheck to pay bills and never stopped asking. I pushed my lunch around my plate. How did you break free? I moved 2,000 miles away and changed my number. Jennifer smiles ruefully. Extreme, but effective. The hardest part was accepting I wasn't the villain in the story. My boss stops by our table, his gaze lingering on my exhausted face. Audrey, everything okay? You seem distracted lately. Just some family issues, I manage. He nods. Take some personal days, handle whatever's going on. Your work will be here when you get back. That night, I curl into my bed, expecting the usual anxiety to keep me awake. Instead, I sleep deeply for the first time in years, dreamless and peaceful, despite the uncertainty ahead. My phone stays silent. No texts, no calls, no demands disguised as family obligation. The foreclosure clock is ticking, and my parents have no idea what's coming. But for now, in this moment, I am finally free. My phone vibrates for the fourth time this hour. I glance at the screen, grandmother. The third call from her today. I let it ring through to voicemail, just like the others. When the notification appears, I press play, holding the phone slightly away from my ear. Audrey, it's Grandma again. Her voice quavers with practiced emotion. How could you make your parents homeless after everything they've done for you? Call me back immediately, young lady. I delete the message and set my phone face down on my desk. The small action feels monumental. 12 weeks since I stopped paying the mortgage. 12 weeks of relative peace shattered by an artillery barrage of guilt from my extended family. I've received 28 voicemails, 43 texts, and 17 emails, each one more desperate than the last. My uncle's message from yesterday still echoes in my mind. You'll be cut off from this family forever if you don't fix this situation. I almost laughed when I heard it. Cut off from what exactly? The privilege of being treated like an ATM? My laptop dings with a new email notification from my father. Audrey, after everything we sacrificed for your education, this is how you repay us? Your mother can hardly sleep at night, worrying about where we'll end up. I hope your selfishness brings you comfort while your family suffers. Dad. I closed the email without responding. 3 months ago, this would have set me into a spiral of guilt and anxiety. Now, I recognize it for what it is, another attempt to manipulate me into resuming payments. My phone buzzes with a text from a number I don't recognize, but the content makes the sender obvious. It's Logan. You're being selfish. I can't afford this payment. I add his new number to my block list. He must have borrowed someone else's phone after I blocked his last 3 numbers. The irony doesn't escape me. He can't afford the payment, but I was somehow expected to manage it on top of my own expenses. I imagine him sitting in my parents' house his house now stewing in entitlement. The certified letter arrives exactly 3 months after I stopped payments. Though addressed to my parents, they forward a photo of it to my email with the subject line, "See what you've done." The bank's letterhead is crisp and formal, the message beneath it clinical. Notice of default. I've been expecting this, but seeing it in official print sends a small shiver through me. My phone rings immediately after I open the email. My mother, of course. The bank says we're in default, she hisses without preamble. They're going to take the house. I hear my father in the background, his voice rising. Put it on speaker. A click, then his voice comes through clearly. You need to transfer $12,000 immediately to cover the missed payments and late fees. I don't have $12,000 to give you, I say, which isn't entirely true. I do have savings, now substantial savings for the first time in my adult life. You work at Harper and Stein. We know what they pay. My father's voice trembles with anger. Fix this by tomorrow or don't consider yourself our daughter. The threat hangs between us for a moment. I feel a curious sense of calm wash over me. I haven't been your daughter for years, I say softly. I've been your investment. I end the call before they can respond. The Facebook notification appears while I'm in a meeting at work. When I check it during a break, my stomach drops. Logan has tagged me in a post. My sister at Audrey Chem is trying to make my pregnant fiancé homeless. Share if you think family should come before agreed. There are already 23 comments, most expressing shock and disapproval. I scan through them quickly, recognizing names from high school, distant relatives, family friends people who have no idea what's really happening. My aunt has shared it, adding, "Family obligation is sacred. Shame on you, Audrey." 3 crying emojis follow her judgment. My phone buzzes with a text from Beth, my high school friend. "Hey, are you okay? Your brother is telling everyone you've had a mental breakdown. I'm worried about you." I set my phone down and take a deep breath. Part of me wants to respond publicly, to lay out every mortgage payment, every extra dollar that disappeared into my parents' pockets, every sacrifice I made for their comfort. The receipts I could post would silence them all. Instead, I block Logan on Facebook and adjust my privacy settings. Their public shaming attempt only strengthens my resolve. "You've made remarkable progress," Samantha says, sliding the financial statement across her desk. 6 months have passed since I stopped mortgage payments, and my bi-weekly meetings with my financial planner have become a cherished ritual. I scanned the document, still not quite believing the numbers. Is this right? I've saved nearly $25,000 already? She nods, her professional demeanor softening with a smile. "And your credit score has increased by 48 points since we started the recovery plan. You're on track to qualify for your own mortgage within 18 months. My own mortgage. My own home." The thought sends a jolt of excitement through me. "Let's look at neighborhoods within your target price range," she suggests, turning her monitor so I can see. "Based on your savings rate and the current market, I think these areas would be ideal starting points." I lean forward, studying the map with growing excitement. For the first time, I'm planning for my future, not subsidizing someone else's. When I leave her office, my step is lighter than it has been in years. The foreclosure notice arrives exactly 6 months after my last payment. I don't see it myself. My parents make sure I know about it through a barrage of increasingly frantic calls. "Foreclosure," my mother whispers the word like a diagnosis. "The bank is taking the house in 90 days if the payments aren't brought current. That's $18,400 now." I'm at work when the calls become hourly. I finally silence my phone during a client meeting, only to emerge and find 3 voicemails from Logan's fiancé. "We're about to have a baby." Her voice trembles. "Please help us, Audrey. We have nowhere else to go." I'm drafting a gentle but firm response when my assistant buzzes my office intercom. "Ms. Chen, your father is here. He's quite insistent about seeing you." My heart pounds as I thank her and ask her to tell him I'm in a meeting. I've never told my colleagues about my family situation. The shame kept me silent even as I built a wall between my work life and personal chaos. But the wall comes crashing down as my father's voice echoes down the hallway, growing louder as he approaches my office. "I need to see my daughter. She can't hide from her responsibilities." I freeze, hand hovering over my keyboard. Through my office window, I see the commotion in the hallway. My father, red-faced and disheveled, confronting our office security guard. "Sir, you need to leave," the guard insists firmly. "Miss Chen is unavailable." "Ungrateful child!" my father shouts as the security guard escorts him toward the elevator. "After everything we've done for you!" I sink into my chair, mortification washing over me. My carefully constructed professional image shattered in an instant. A knock at my door makes me jump. It's Samuel Russell, my boss, his expression concerned rather than angry. "Audrey," he says, closing the door behind him, "I understand now what you've been dealing with." I open my mouth to apologize, to explain, to do damage control, but he shakes his head. "Take the rest of the day." "And Audrey?" He pauses at the door. "Whatever's happening with your family, don't let it derail what you've built here. You've earned your place." As the door closes behind him, I realize something fundamental has shifted. The foreclosure process has begun, and my family is facing the consequences of their actions. But for the first time in my adult life, I'm not drowning in guilt about it. I am saving from my own house now, and no one can take that from me. The text sits on my phone screen like a victory flag. Final notice. Property at 1423 Oakwood Lane scheduled for repossession in 7 days. 8 months since I stopped payments, and the wheels of justice have finally completed their slow turn. My mother's response arrives minutes later. We have 30 days to vacate. Are you happy now? I stare at her words, testing them against the knot in my stomach. Am I happy? No. Relieved? Maybe. The house, their house, never mine, despite the $170,000 I poured into it, will soon belong to the bank. I don't answer her texts. 3 days later, another message arrives, this one from my father. Logan and Melissa are moving in with us. The apartment is half the size of the house. I hope you're satisfied seeing your family suffer. I close my eyes, breathe deep, and delete it without responding. The charity auction buzzes with conversation, crystal glasses clinking as Metro Atlanta's financial elite bid on weekend getaways and designer handbags. I'm here representing Harper & Stein, my firm's logo pinned to my lapel. This is the first time I've attended a community event where I might encounter family acquaintances since the foreclosure. Audrey, is that you? Mrs. Patel, my mother's friend from their book club, approaches with a flute of champagne. I straighten my shoulders, preparing for judgment. How are you, dear? It's been ages. Her smile seems genuine, not the tight grimace I expected. I'm well, thank you. My voice comes out steadier than I anticipated. Mrs. Patel glances around before leaning closer. I heard about the house situation. Such a shame. You know Logan refused to get a second job to help with the payments? My eyebrows lift. He did? She nods, pearl earrings swinging. At the last book club before your mother moved, she was complaining about the foreclosure, and Debbie Lou asked why Logan couldn't step up. Your mother said he told them, "That's what sisters are for. She can afford it." The words land like stones in my stomach. Melissa's parents confronted him about it, Mrs. Patel continues. They're not happy he's moving into their guest room with a newborn and still buying those expensive gaming systems. I swallow hard, processing this confirmation of what I'd suspected all along. You did the right thing, dear. Mrs. Patel pats my arm. Some lessons need to be learned the hard way. The phone store smells of plastic and cleaning solution. I tap my credit card against the counter while the technician sets up my new number. All done, he says, sliding my phone across the counter. Your old number is officially disconnected. Thank you. The words come out almost as a whisper. Outside, I stand in the spring sunshine, holding my phone with its blissfully empty message inbox. No more texts demanding money. No more midnight calls about broken appliances. No more guilt-laden voicemails. For the first time in years, my Sunday stretches before me, peaceful and uninterrupted. To Audrey's freedom. Mia raises her wine glass, the candlelight catching in the ruby liquid. Jennifer and 2 other friends from work echo the toast, glasses clinking around our table at Marcello's, the Italian restaurant I could never afford when I was paying for my parents' house. I never thought I'd see the day, Jennifer says, squeezing my hand. You deserve this. It still feels strange, I admit, like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. That feeling fades, Jennifer promises. One day you'll wake up and realize your first thought isn't about them anymore. Their face as supportive, proud, celebratory reflect back a version of myself I'm still learning to recognize. Audrey unshackled. I'm learning that no is a complete sentence, I tell Dr. Hayes during our therapy session. I don't need to justify it or apologize for it. She nods, making a note on her pad. How does that feel? Terrifying, I admit, and liberating. Freedom often feels that way at first, she says. Like any new muscle, boundary setting gets stronger with use. 6 months of financial independence stretch behind me, each day a brick in the wall I've built between myself and financial exploitation. My spreadsheets now track growth instead of loss. This property has great potential, the real estate agent says, gesturing to the kitchen with its outdated cabinets but solid countertops. The neighborhood has appreciated 12% in the last 3 years. I run my hand along the countertop, imagining morning coffee here. This two-bedroom townhouse costs less than half what I paid for my parents' house. The down payment sits ready in my account money, saved during months of freedom from their financial demands. The owners are motivated sellers, she continues. Your pre-approval letter puts you in a strong position. I look out the window at the small patio garden. Mine. Truly mine if I decide to make an offer. I'd like to think about it overnight, I tell her. Later, I compare this property to the other two I've toured this week. My spreadsheet shows the recovery plan I created after the foreclosure is working ahead of schedule. The pre-approval letter from Summit Bank deliberately chosen because it's not the bank my parents used sits beside my laptop. I open my journal to record today's entry, flipping past 6 months of entries tracking my journey to independence. My hand hovers over the blank page, and I finally write the words I've been afraid to acknowledge. Today, I realized I'm not just financially stable. I'm thriving. The fortress of boundaries I've built protects something precious, the life I deserve. I close the journal and picture a home that's truly mine. For the first time, the image brings a smile instead of fear. The key feels different in my palm as I slide it into the lock lighter. Somehow, mine. The door swings open to reveal hardwood floors that gleam in the afternoon light. Not the expensive engineered hardwood from the house I paid for, but never owned. This is the real thing, with character marks and slight imperfections that make it perfect. Home, I whisper, the word unfamiliar on my tongue. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen with countertops that aren't marble but clean laminate. The mortgage is exactly what I can afford on my own terms. No one else's name appears on a single document. The memory of move-in day floods back Jennifer and Mia, hauling boxes up the front steps, sweat dampening their shirts as they laughed about my book collection. Do you really need 12 finance textbooks? Mia had teased, nearly dropping a particularly heavy box. My boss Sam, surprising me with a toolbox. Every homeowner needs one, and staying late to assemble my bed frame. People who wanted nothing from me but my happiness. I trace my fingers along the mantel where a simple frame sits. Freedom. Established 2023. It reads in elegant script, a housewarming gift from Mia, placed there during the party last weekend. Glasses clinked, genuine congratulations flowed, and for the first time in years, I felt surrounded by people who saw not my wallet or what I could provide, but me. No design choices vetted through my mother. No budget adjustments to accommodate my father's expensive taste. Just mine, in this peaceful neighborhood where neighbors wave when I jog past their homes in the morning. 3 months of peace pass like a dream, until the doorbell rings on a quiet Sunday afternoon. My stomach drops before I even reach the peephole. Some part of me has been waiting, bracing for this moment. I recognize the shadows on my porch, the particular way they stand close but not touching. My mother's shoulders squared, my father's height towering beside her. I consider not answering. The thought flits through my mind like a sparrow, quick, darting, ultimately futile. They've seen my car in the driveway. I open the door, and the familiar tension claws its way back into my shoulders. Audrey, my mother's voice is bright, brittle as spun sugar. What a lovely home you have. My father's eyes sweep across the porch. The freshly painted shutters, the modest landscaping. Must have cost a pretty penny, he says, the calculation evident in his gaze. Thank you, I say, the words clipped. Then, because some habits die harder than others, I step aside. Would you like to come in? They enter my space like inspectors, noting everything, touching surfaces, making small comments that dig under my skin. These countertops are interesting, my mother says, running her finger along the edge. Solid construction? My father nods approvingly at the ceiling. Good investment. I make coffee in silence, setting out the mugs I bought at a local pottery studio. My mother comments on their unique appearance or code for not expensive enough. So, my father says finally, settling into my sofa, one I saved for 6 months to buy. Your brother's fiancé is expecting again. And there it is. The preamble complete. The real purpose revealed. They need more space, my mother adds, stirring sugar into her coffee. The apartment is getting cramped with the baby. Logan's trying, of course, she continues, though we both know this is a lie. But with his situation. My father leans forward, elbows on knees, the posture he adopts when he's about to close a deal. We've been thinking about getting a house again. I take a slow sip of coffee, burning my tongue slightly. The pain keeps me present. Similar to the last one, actually. He doesn't need to specify which house he means, the one I paid for, the one they gave away. His voice drops into the practiced tone he uses for important declarations. As the successful one in the family, you have a responsibility. Your brother has his hands full with the baby, and another on the way. He can't possibly manage what you can. My mother nods vigorously. We found a nice 3-bedroom, not too expensive. She pulls out her phone, swipes to display a listing. Only $450,000. With your salary at Harper & Stein, you could easily afford the payments. The coffee mug warms my palms as I set it down carefully on the coaster. I look at them both, really. Look at Theman, see the expectation in their eyes. The certainty that I'll fall in line, that I'll open my wallet, that I'll say yes because I always have. No, I say. The syllable hangs in the air, simple and irrevocable. My parents exchange glances, confusion clouding their features as though I've suddenly started speaking a language they don't understand. What do you mean, no? My mother asks, her voice rising slightly. I mean no. My voice remains steady. I will not be buying another house for you or for Logan. But we're family. My mother's eyes widen. Family helps each other. After all we sacrifice raising you, my father adds, his tone heavy with practiced guilt. Your education, your opportunities. I paid that debt for 4 years, I interrupt. The account is closed. My father's face darkens. This isn't like you, Audrey. You've always been the responsible one. I still am, I say, responsible to myself now. My mother's coffee sits untouched, cooling. Is this because of the last house? We explained why Logan needed it more. This isn't about the house, though, of course it is, in all the ways that matter. This is about recognizing a pattern and choosing not to repeat it. My father stands abruptly. You'll regret turning your back on family, he says, his voice low and threatening. When you're alone with just your things and your money, you'll see what really matters. I rise too, surprising myself with how calm I feel. I regret it took me so long to see clearly. I walk them to the door, my steps measured. They pause on the threshold, clearly expecting me to change my mind, to call them back, to cave as I've always done. Instead, I watch their faces as the realization dawns. This isn't temporary. This isn't a negotiation. This is final. You'll come crawling back when you need family. My father spits, his face flushing dark with anger. Money can't hold your hand when you're sick. My mother's expression hardens. After everything we've done for you, she whispers, the words like ice. Your own brother's children will grow up without knowing their aunt. I don't flinch. That will be Logan's choice to explain, not mine. The door closes with a soft click that echoes like thunder in my chest. I stand with my palm flat against the wood, feeling the boundary I've created solid, real, mine. On the other side, I hear my father's raised voice, my mother's sharp response. Their footsteps retreat down the walkway, car doors slam, an engine starts. And then, silence. The quiet of my home truly, mine wraps around me like a blanket as I turn away from the door, from the past, and walk back into the life I've built for myself. Sunlight streams through windows that are mine alone. 1 year after closing the door on my parents, my home has become a sanctuary. The walls, painted the sage green I chose, hold framed photos from my trip to Portugal, my first real vacation in 7 years. No spreadsheets tracking other people's debts. No overtime to fund someone else's life. I run my fingers along the spines of books I now have time to read. My promotion came through last month, Senior Director of Financial Analysis. My boss cited my newfound focus and confidence in the recommendation letter. You've been hiding your light under a bushel, she said during the announcement. It's good to finally meet the real Audrey. The real Audrey. I'm still discovering her myself. My phone buzzes with a delivery notification. The packages for Logan's children have arrived. I've never met my niece and nephew in person, but I send birthday and Christmas gifts directly to them. The college funds I established are locked until they turn 18. No parents can redirect that money. My lawyer made sure of it. You don't owe them anything, Mia insisted when I mentioned setting up the accounts. I'm not doing it out of obligation, I told her. The kids didn't betray me. A text from Melissa, Logan's wife now, lights up my screen. Thank you for the science kit. Ellie loves it. When you're ready, we'd love for you to meet them. I don't respond immediately. Boundaries require constant vigilance. But I save the message instead of deleting it. Maybe someday. My doorbell rings at exactly noon. Grandmother Chen stands on my porch, her silver hair neat under a wide-brimmed hat. Our monthly coffee date? The first few words strange her initial accusations still rang in my ears. Today, she brings almond cookies from the bakery near her apartment. Your cousin Timothy called me yesterday, she says as I pour tea. Your father has been asking him for money. Something about an investment opportunity. I don't react. The shock has long faded. I was wrong about you, Audrey, she continues, stirring honey into her cup. They've tried the same with all the cousins. I just didn't want to see it. Her admission doesn't heal everything, but it soothes a wound I'd stopped noticing. My phone pings with an email from Mrs. Hernandez, our former neighbor for 20 years. Your mother approached us for a loan last week. I remembered what they did to you. Are you doing okay? Family friends who witnessed my parents' pattern are reaching out one by one. Their messages form a constellation of validation I never expected. At 5 o'clock, I lock my office door. The framed calligraphy on my wall catches the late afternoon light. Giving should be freely chosen, never coerced. My manifesto, written the day I moved into my house. Below, it hangs my professional certifications and a photo of the community center where I lead weekly workshops. Dr. Hayes, my therapist, joins me for the walk to tonight's session. Her gray eyes are kind behind practical glasses. How do you feel about the anniversary? She asks, referring to 1 year since I moved into my own home. I consider the question carefully. Lighter. She nods. That's what happens when you set down burdens that were never yours to carry. At the door to the community center, she pauses. You know, Audrey, you didn't lose family. You gained yourself. Inside, 12 people wait in a circle of chairs. My financial boundaries workshop has grown from 3 hesitant participants to a waitlisted program. Today, a young woman, with exhaustion etched around her eyes, shares how her parents expect her to fund their retirement while she can barely afford rent. They say I'm being selfish, she whispers. No one is entitled to your financial success, I tell her, the words flowing easily now. Setting boundaries isn't about punishing others, it's about protecting yourself. The group nods. Many have lived variations of my story. We're building a different kind of family hero based on mutual respect rather than exploitation. For Thanksgiving this year, I'm hosting dinner. Not for blood relatives, but for the people who stood by me. Mia, who first validated my anger. Jennifer from work, who shared her own family's financial manipulation. My neighbor, who checks my mail when I travel. People who respect my boundaries and ask for what they need without demanding what I have. Back home, I open my journal, the leather cover worn from daily use. Today marks exactly 1 year since I moved into this house. I write, I never realized peace could feel this complete. The price of freedom was high, but worth every penny. Today, I choose who gets my time, my energy, and yes, my money. Family isn't who demands the most from you. It's who respects what you choose to give. Beyond my window, the sky darkens into evening. No anxiety tightens my chest at the thought of tomorrow. No dread of the next financial demand. Just the quiet certainty that whatever comes, I'll face it on my terms. This is what freedom feels like. Audrey's journey from financial exploitation to freedom required tremendous courage. What would you have done differently? Was cutting off contact too extreme, or the only way to break the cycle? What financial boundaries do you maintain with your own family? 1. Complete separation like Audrey. 2. Helping with true emergencies only. 3. Regular support with clear limits. 4. Full financial integration with family. Share your thoughts and your own stories in the comments. Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with loved ones? How did it change your life?